And we are live. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are, good evening, wherever you are. It's good to have you here. Welcome back to another episode of When Two or More with the McCaws. Unfortunately, Nanny isn't with me. Unfortunately, that's going to be good to have you here. Welcome back to another episode of When Two or More with the McCaws. Unfortunately, Nanny isn't with me. Unfortunately, that's going to be good to have you here. Welcome back to another episode of When Two or More with the McCaws. Unfortunately, Nanny isn't with me. Unfortunately, that's going to be good to have you here. Welcome back to another episode. I had an echo issue. The echo issue is dealt with. I will start again. Welcome back, guys, to another episode of When Two or More with the McCaws. Unfortunately, the other McCaw, Nanny, is not with me today. Unfortunately, that's just going to be the way things are going to be, unfortunately, because of what we're dealing with. Sometimes it's appropriate for only one of us to be there, but also because of the language. We want to address some really important issues with the Spanish-speaking audience as well, and so Nanny will deal with those issues. Today, we've got a really exciting one. I'm joined by Ziearre, who is a US artist, musician that promises to inspire you today. It's fantastic. As soon as I got hearing Isaiah's music, it immediately hit me that this guy wants to talk about positivity. He wants to inspire others, and he just wants to send out a positive vibe to other people's in a way that doesn't compromise truth, but is loving at the same time. Before we get into that, there's a few announcements we have to make. This is number 7 podcast, which is fantastic. We're really moving forward the steps, and it's really good to have you guys here with us. We have several different ways in which you can support the podcast. The first is whatever platform you're watching it on. If you're watching it, we'd like you to subscribe on YouTube, hit the like button down below, especially if you are watching live here right now. That would be great. That means that we can get the podcast out to as many people as we can. The second thing, if you're listening to this podcast and you're on podcast platforms, it would be great if you're able to hit the 5-star. I know that's the case on Apple Podcasts. If you hit the 5-star, that helps us get this podcast out as well. And also that we do have an option to financially support the podcast, which is the buy a coffee campaign, which is a great financial way of supporting if that's right for you. If it's not, that's not a problem. But today's coffee has been bought and provided by Josh today, so I really appreciate that. So thank you, buddy. Without further ado, let's get into today's podcast. So as I said, US artist Ziearre has been inspiring a lot of people with the lyrics that he brings into a different type of genres, and he likes to just consider himself an artist as to not put himself in a lane. But without further ado, let's bring him in. Hello, my friend. How you doing?
Hey, Stuart. How you doing, man?
Very good, brother. Very good. You had a good day. What's New York saying today?
Man, it's good out here. The weather is really nice. Everything is New York is being New York. Fast paced.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, I tell you what, it's great because a couple of I think we got LinkedIn via Instagram a couple of months ago. And I'm like always interested in people using their platforms for good. And so anybody that does that just inspires me, and I want to reach out. I want to know why. And so that's part of the reason we started this podcast. And you are one of the first people that I think, okay, I'm going to speak to him. He's got a story. He comes in from a different angle from most people. You're creative, which is,
Yes.
a lot of people are creative in their own way, but not a lot of people have the energy to show it, I guess. I think, so.
Yeah.
So I think it was important really to bring you in to hear your story. So I'm glad we've brought you on. Are you excited, mate?
I'm very excited, and I really appreciate this whole opportunity. And I heard that you said you reach out to people that inspire you. It's a blessing to know that my music, my work in general inspires you. That's my main goal. I want to be able to inspire people and just have that positive. I want people to have that positive intake on what I bring out. You know what I'm saying? So
that's good.
Yeah.
So let's start at the beginning, because that is the best place to start.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Run us through like from the beginning. Then what's your background like? Let's run us from the start.
Yeah. So I'm Brooklyn bound artist. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. I've been living here my whole life. Um, as you can see, I am a music artist, but that whole thing came about. First off, I have like a musical family.
Okay.
But what really drew me closer into music was because at the age of 2 years old, I have an uncle named Michael. So my uncle Michael, he introduced me to Michael Jackson, and from when I remember that time. The first video I saw was Smooth Criminal, and just seeing the creativity, the grooviness of the music, the whole vibe of Michael Jackson, that drew me closer to him. So as I've gotten older, he's been like a major role on the reason why I do music and the creativity side of me and why I'm so passionate about being creative and just putting out great music. So Michael Jackson had played a major role on my life and the reason why I do music. He also helped me get through like a lot of situations. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was younger in school as a kid, especially when you feel like you're the one that's different from everybody and everybody don't understand, but you have your times, you get sad, and I would go home, watch Michael Jackson. It's like, I'm good. I'm in a
Mm-hmm.
better headspace than where I was in school because sometimes
Yeah,
it was tough.
of
But
course,
yeah, as
absolutely.
I've gotten older and experiencing with different genres of music, even down to the hip hop, because I do rap,
Mm-hmm.
that's what also played a major role on how that's what groomed me to be the artist I am today.
Mm-hmm.
So
When when did you realize that you were different? You used an interesting term there, like you were different from the rest of the kids. When did you realize that? How old do you think when you realized that?
Well, I've as a kid, you're not
Mm-hmm.
really in that mature state, so you don't really know why everything is like that. But I've came to a realization when I've hit my teens, about my preteens, about 12 years old, going on to 13, and having
Mm-hmm.
conversations with my mom and stuff, and especially getting more in tune with the Bible and
Mm-hmm.
understanding like what it spoke about and why life is the way it is. Especially for me, it's like, okay, I'm not meant to be um in a position. I'm meant to be outstanding. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I'm not
yeah,
meant to be ordinary.
yeah.
So yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
And so you've just mentioned your Christian faith there. Has that been something you've been raised in?
I'm gonna be completely transparent. So
Yeah, good.
I grew up in church, so
Cool.
that's been like my whole background.
Okay.
But my
Mhm.
relationship with God didn't come from me being in church. It came from my own experiences in life and just having
Yeah.
that relationship and developing that relationship myself in my own journey and my own walk and the things that
Yeah.
I've dealt with and the things that I've been through.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I would say I share the same experience. I would say I grew up in church,
Hmm.
but church. I mean, yeah, if yours is different, let me know. But I grew up in church, and it was very much like that was just the thing that in our house we did.
Hmm.
But I would say I had to walk away and then realize for myself that that was right, rather than just do it because I was told to do it. Is that? Can you relate to that?
Um, I can relate to that, especially as
Mm,
a kid. It's like you have to go to church because our
mm,
parents made us do it. I don't want to say made us, but we have to
yeah,
because we can't stay home by ourselves. And we have to
yeah,
go wherever our
yeah,
parents go.
mm,
And I didn't understand it when I was young, but as I've gotten much more mature and from my personal experiences and stuff,
okay,
and the things that God has done for me, it's like,
mm,
okay, this is real.
yeah,
This is real.
okay.
So that's how I was able to build that relationship with God, my own path, my own journey.
Sure. When was that? Like, when did you, some people like to say be born again. When were you born again?
I would say I actually have a song called Born Again too. Now
Yeah.
I would say that came about like probably the middle of my teenage years, like 14 to 18,
Okay.
because I've been through some stuff. Um, like my past relationships and the depression and the
Mm,
anxiety and the things that I've had to deal with as a young man. It's like sometimes it's hard because we're very young. You
mm,
know what I'm saying? So we don't really have that strength to do it. But that strength that I've gained, it didn't
mm,
just come from people. It came from God. I would pray to Him like, God, this whatever's happened in my life, especially down to people. If these people aren't for me, just remove them out of my life, Lord. Give me the strength. And that's exactly what happened. That's why I know it's real. Like that's why I don't call myself religious. I say I have a relationship with God. And spirituality, that's completely different from um what's the word I'm looking for? I lost the word, but that's completely different from just uh oh man, I forgot the
Like a
word.
set of rules. You mean like a set of rules, like
Yeah,
a
like a set of rules or something. Yeah, like a norm or something. You know what I'm saying? That's
yeah,
completely different.
yeah. No, excellent. You said something interesting there about like the things you went through when you were young. Do you
Hmm.
mind opening up about that? Do you mind? Do you mind? Let's explore. Like, as in, do you mind expressing the things you went through that were kind of stand out for you at
Yeah.
the time?
So I'll speak about a lot of the things that I've been through throughout my whole childhood, leading
Sure.
up to my teenage years. So when I was younger, I was a little bit overweight. So it's like when you are overweight, and do you see like a lot of the other kids that's nice and fit. And I'm not saying I'm that type of person now, but you see all the guys getting a lot of the girls wanted them, but they don't want you because you're fat and stuff,
Hmm.
or just
Hmm.
not say fat. I want to say overweight.
Hmm.
And then I would be so ashamed to just wear my. You know how men have nice fit, they can wear their shirt and go straight down.
Yeah.
I would be so like ashamed that I would have these
Yeah.
things. I don't want to say it. So
Yeah.
when I went to school, I would either wear a sweater to cover it, or I would either
Hmm.
wear a scarf around my neck just to hide it because I felt like I would get laughed at. And
Okay.
sometimes I did get joked on,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it hurt so much. Not only that, I wasn't always good in school. Like I started to get good grades and everything after once I got to 10th grade.
Yeah.
I've
Well,
always done bad, like academic. When it comes to my academics,
okay.
every parent teacher conference, it was like it was always bad news. I just
Mm.
wanted my parents to be proud of me, and then it was just so much. And that's as a kid, it's hard because it's like all you want to do is be happy. You want to make your parents happy, but then your grades aren't right. So it's like constantly you got to go to parent teacher conference. Then your mom, oh, you gotta come on, you gotta get it together. Your teacher's telling all this. It's like you want to hear something good,
Mm.
So that's like that's been like that was like a big toll on me, put a big
Mm.
toll on me. And then during my high school years, I was in a relationship, and then the
Okay.
things that I've been through within that relationship is like it's very hectic.
Mm.
I don't want to go too in depth. I don't mind sharing it, but I don't want to go too in depth because it's like it would be
Mm.
like a really really long story, long
Yeah.
story. But then again, you know what I'm saying, I would just say as a kid and
Hmm.
dealing with that, you need strength because you might
Hmm.
not understand why it's happening, but things happen for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So that caused a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, insecurities.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was
Mm.
crazy, man. And like, imagine being a young person. You're not fully grown, but it's like, why am I
Yeah.
dealing with this? Heartbreak is
Yeah.
serious.
Yeah. Of course.
Heartbreak is serious, and I'm sure a lot of
Yeah.
people out there experience that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they not the only one. I've dealt with it. It's horrible.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Horrible.
you're kind of you're so I would say I was born again when I was 24, right?
Hmm.
So I can't relate to somebody taking their faith seriously so young. That's just my own story.
Oh man.
So like you're 14 and you come
Hmm.
to this decision. Was that kind of a life changing? Obviously, it's a life changing moment for you. But like, did it then throw everything that you were everything interested in, what you did in your own time? Did it give it new identity?
I would say I would say no.
Okay.
Because this is the thing. I accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, like my early ages in my teen years, 14. But when I got saved, as far as like, um, I guess being baptized and everything, I didn't get baptized until I believe 2 years. I believe 18. I forgot the age. I'm really bad at memorizing them things, but
Yeah.
it was my later years when I got later on in my years when I got baptized. I'm 22 now,
Okay.
so yeah, I didn't. I guess you could say born again as far as being
Mhm.
baptized, right? Or like just filled with the Holy Spirit.
Uh, Yeah, well, I mean, basically like a decision is made where you're like, I'm going to turn my life around. That's the kind of um,
Also, like that. All right, in terms of in
mm,
all, it was around like 13,
yeah,
14. Because
yeah, yeah,
I'm in my mature state. So I
right.
know and I'm very conscious of everything that's happening and what's going on.
Okay,
You know, so
awesome. And so, did the music come about then? When did the music start?
music, okay. So, all right. So, I before I was the artist I am today, I wanted to be a singer. Okay, and
Okay,
with those singing songs I was writing about, these females. I
yeah,
had a
yeah,
song like "She got the peanut butter skin, nice little body, shorty you a 10." You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
then
yeah,
I'm like, what do I know about that stuff? I'm just a kid, just over here talking like I'm grown. But and then I started writing raps. All this was like before the age of 12. So I would say like from
yeah.
7 and up, I would just write songs and stuff. I'll write raps, but my raps didn't make any sense.
Mm-mm.
So it was like a lot of development throughout the years as the years went by.
Mm-mm.
So
Okay.
yeah, so I've been doing music for like I would say since 7. Because my parents also bought me like a keyboard. I would make
Yeah, of
beats.
course.
I played drums, and I was just hands on. Like I loved instruments. I still
Yeah,
do. I
yeah,
don't know how to play them really good, but I
yeah.
have an ear for music.
Okay. And so,
Yeah,
how did the music? How did you mix the music into your school life, or did they not cross over into each other, or?
like my school life.
Yeah, because I'll just break this in right now. I used to sing while I was at school,
Uh huh.
and I was fearful, I would say, when I was 16, 17, being at school and telling people that on the side I would do some singing.
Okay.
Like, do you know what I mean? So did they combine, or how did that work for you?
Yeah. So when I got to high school, um, I was still doing like I called myself. People see me as a church kid, so they know
Yeah.
I was doing like music like that. They would say I'm a gospel rapper and stuff. So they respected it. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Then my school would have talent shows, and I remember it was one talent show. I went in and I ripped it.
Hmm.
so, so they respected it. Everybody
Yeah.
respected it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
wasn't.
Yeah.
When it came to music, you got to have some type of confidence with you if you want that respect.
I,
And
I
that's what.
saw a I saw a concert you did the other day, bro. Like you went in, bro. You went in,
Oh yeah,
man.
that's yeah
You went
that's
so hard. Like you were climbing on the stage, like on the side of the stage, bro. Like
yeah.
mad.
I love the.
That was something, man. Like I don't know how many people were in the. It felt like one of these like all inclusive type. Everybody feels
yeah.
part of it. From the different people that were there that have brought different footage. I saw some. You brought some presents, man. You brought some presents.
Yeah, I love like I said, like I will watch a lot of performers,
Mm,
down from Michael Jackson, Travis Scott, Kendrick Lamar, J Cole, all these guys I watch. Because when it comes to music, I also do my homework too.
yeah.
But then, so when you on stage, you want to make sure you bring your all. And I've been told that from like a lot of mentors and stuff. And ever since then, I've held on to that. But
Mm,
that type of confidence that developed over time. I never had
mm.
that much confidence before.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. You can tell when you watch someone like yourself, you can tell that you're somebody that loves doing what you're doing right there. That's your moment there and then, and you're really thriving off using
Yes.
what God's given you there, man.
Yeah. And that's why I tell people this all the time. It's the difference between being doing something just to do it for money and doing something because you're very passionate about it. You will
Yeah,
see the
yeah,
complete difference, even down to different artists.
yeah,
You would know the difference between an artist that has longevity to an
mm,
artist that's just temporary.
yeah, yeah,
Come get the money and boop. But I don't fault nobody, you know what I'm saying? Everybody try to grind and do what they gotta do to make a living
yeah.
for themselves.
No,
It happens, it doesn't, it doesn't, you know?
I definitely see. Um, there's one level of confidence where you can step up for a crowd, but there's another level of confidence where there's no one watching and you're on a street doing a music video like that, like where there's like it's easier to follow something that a crowd's following, like a concert.
Mm-hmm.
What's difficult and what I see from you, which is amazing, is this kind of ability just to kind of do the street music videos that you've done that are different, that stand out. Like like run me through that. Like why, where did that come from? The whole style in which you do your music, and yeah, what do you think there?
Okay, so those little freestyle videos, that was like, during the whole pandemic and stuff. It's just like, I just wanted to bring joy to the internet, and
Yeah.
honestly, I just needed some more content.
Okay.
So I'm being completely honest. So I said, you know
Yeah.
what? Let me just do some freestyle videos, entertain
Mm.
my audience. While
Oh, lost you
sorry,
there.
that was a
Mm.
call. Scam,
Right.
those crazy scam like these, man. I don't like those things.
Mm.
Yeah, I just wanted to entertain everybody, give everybody freestyle videos, let them enjoy it, and I did it to like old school beats, classical beats.
Yeah, that's great.
Um, yeah, I was just having fun, man, having
Yeah.
fun.
I loved it, bro, because I think there is kind of this idea that we have to, if we're going to do something creative, it has to kind of go with the times. But what I
Hmm.
like, is you kind of pulled it back a little bit. You've definitely. It doesn't surprise me one bit that you are inspired by someone like Michael Jackson, because you've really brought the dance moves that he brought in, that he brought, and you've just brought them back, and it's refreshing to see. Like, so good on you, mate. That's fantastic.
Yeah, man, it's great. A lot of people tell me that too. They look at my music videos, they say, "I could tell you was inspired by Michael Jackson." I sure was. I sure was.
Yeah, that's
And
awesome.
something Michael Jackson said, "You study the greats to become the greatest." So any great artist I look at, I make sure I study them. I just look at how they move and stuff because,
Yeah,
like I said, you want to study the greats to become the greatest.
yeah,
Once their time is up, um, I don't mean like on Earth or anything. Like once they get
yeah,
tired of doing whatever they're doing, they got to pass the torch down to the next generation.
yeah. Absolutely.
You know.
So this podcast, we've called it the power of the tongue. I'm a huge believer that actually we have great power in the words that we say to other people.
Hmm.
This was the biggest thing I would say that stood out to me about you. Where, like, explain to me why that's so important for you.
That's a very, very great question because in the Bible it says the power of the tongue is life and death. Now, and I'm going to bring like real life situations into this. So you have like a lot of artists. Rest in peace, to those artists.
Mm,
They would write songs, talking about they would want to die before a specific age. They want these drugs to take them away. Um, Other artists, I don't want to say it, but you got artists like Biggie, even their album Life After
mm,
Death or anything involving death. If you're gonna speak that upon yourself, that's eventually what's gonna happen in your life.
mm,
The tongue is very powerful. The
mm,
tongue is very powerful. Even down to rest in peace, and he was a great artist, but XXX Tentacion.
mm,
You know what I'm
mm,
saying? He wanted to some of his songs. He was talking about him dying.
mm. Yeah.
Um, Rest in peace to Juice World. These were great artists. I'm not talking about them, but Juice World would talk about the same thing about him dying. And
Mm, mm,
eventually, look what happens.
mm. Okay.
And I feel like those are examples, especially for the position that they have and the amount of influence that they have.
Mm,
But a lot of people won't only see stuff like that from the natural eye. They don't look at it from the supernatural eye.
mm.
That's why it's very important, especially for us, that the ones that do know and the way how life is, we have to be able to teach them,
Yeah.
but do it out of love.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
um,
Do you have personal? Would you say you have personal experience of knowing what it feels like to have the complete opposite of positive language used on you in your life?
like,
As in, do you think there's a personal element where you say, "I want to be positive with other people because I know personally how it feels to have negative put my way"?
oh yeah, 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 most definitely. And this is just because of me living in New York.
Mm,
You see so much, or you hear so much derogative language, any language, like all of the language that's derogatory and
mm,
provocative and just negative and oh, it's wicked the things people say.
mm,
And I feel like that affects people around them. You know what I'm saying? Like if you going down the street, you hear somebody talking all this nonsense, you don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes even the start of your day, you hear all that nonsense that could like really damper your spirit. But if you come around people and just speak in love and positivity to them and just just having that type of charity, that compassion, eventually you'll make somebody day. It's, hey man, how you doing? Hope you have a wonderful day. That makes people smile. The littlest thing like that can make people smile for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I choose to be very, very positive. Be very, very positive.
It's good. It's a good place to be. You know, the difference, I spent some time in 2014 in Virginia, in Richmond, Virginia, and the difference, oh my goodness, like the difference it makes to someone when you say hello. And over there, it's like, how you doing is so common.
Yeah.
Road, like, it's not like that here, though. Bro, it's not like that here. Like, people are not generally, like, people are friendly, but like, you know, you have to generally you have to work at people longer in order to become their friend and to break down the walls. And so I'm sure there's a certain element of that there as well. But certainly, here you can say hello to someone in the street and they can look at you like, you're talking to me. I don't know you.
No, that's
Which
true. I agree with you.
sad reality, really. But so let's run you through like the music that you bring. Why then? Okay, so you've got the language. You want to use these positive vibes, this good language to encourage people and lift people up. And obviously, then you have as well what I would say the strongest basis for positivity, which would be the Christian faith. Encouraging and lifting people up and giving them life. How do you then, for you as an artist, how do you then create music that way? That's because the balance is, I guess, being able to create something that's a great message, but that's also catchy and that people like. How do you work through?
Um, so I'm a person of truth.
Okay.
So when it comes to my faith, especially me reading the Bible, and I believe in the Bible so much because it's like a lot of things that has been fulfilled, things that's still being fulfilled, and that's things that's going to happen, that's
Okay.
soon to come.
Mm-hmm.
And you just know when it's real, especially when it comes to like the spirituality and just being filled with the Spirit and just seeing how my life how my life evolves around, you know, like I guess the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So what I try to do, I try to incorporate it in my music, not in a way where it's forcing people,
Mm-hmm.
but I try to do it in a way where it's like they can resonate with it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's a Bible scripture that says Jesus speaks about it himself. He said, "I am the truth, I am the way, and I am the light."
Mm-hmm.
And there's also another scripture in the Bible. It's my favorite scripture. It's Matthew 5:16, I believe. And it says, "Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify the Father which is in heaven."
Mm-hmm.
So when you're anything that's just involving light or truth, you don't have to prove your point. You could speak it, but you don't have to prove it. But you know it's true because people will easily gravitate to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know
That's
what I'm
cool.
saying? So that's how. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you find that difficult? Do you find the balance between creating something that's a vibe, that's a good song, that's a creative song? Because do you know the first I heard of this, right? Which is incredibly clever, is Andy Mineo, yeah? Do
Not
you know?
personally, but I know him.
No, okay, cool. So I think he's got a song called Martinelli.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the song I'm talking
Champagne
about?
glass with the Martinelli.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And like, I think my interpretation. I haven't listened to it for a while, so I could be completely off. But I was like, "What's Martinelli?" Because Martinelli, we don't have it in the UK, right?
it's
And
it's
yeah, go on, explain what it is.
See, it's not an alcoholic beverage, so it's like those apple ciders,
Yeah, yeah,
and they have like the different flavors, like the fruit
yeah,
flavors. It's non-alcoholic, but it's a,
yeah,
a sizzling drink. It's really good.
yeah,
From out to
yeah.
belly.
And so, yeah, his whole like the whole reason he's done a song about it is because it's a non-alcoholic drink in a champagne bottle, isn't it? Like pretty much it
Mm-hmm.
comes in a champagne
Yep.
looking bottle. And it's this idea that we all pretend to be things on the outside, but inside we're all broken. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like that is clever. Like the way that he's created something that we all know, or in your culture, what Martinelli is, and the comparison. And that was the first I saw that, and I hear that from you really in your music, in some of the stuff in some of the stuff you've talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with the new album you've done, there's a lot of kind of real comparisons there to that sort of illustration. Would you agree?
Of course, a heavenly
Mm.
piece of art. Yes, most
Yeah, give
definitely.
us some give us some examples from the new album that you've used to get a wider point out.
Okay, so let's say a good song I could say is "66 Battlefield."
That's one of my favorites,
Yeah,
for
I love
real.
66 Battlefield. So
Yeah.
that song, people wonder what that song is about. They either think of it as a gun. I mean, it is. I compared
Hmm.
something to a gun.
Okay.
And just be on the battlefield. So when I say 66 Battlefield, I'm speaking. The 66 is my Bible, because
Mhm.
it's 66 books in the Bible. And
Okay.
I said I got a chopper. The word new and old. It's the New Testament, the Old Testament, and the New Testament.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm calling like my gun, the 66. That's my lethal weapon. And I'm
Right.
going out into this battlefield, and this battlefield is just spiritual warfare, like
Okay.
battling against the devil and his
Yeah.
imps, his little demon things. And yeah, I
Mm.
try to compare it in a way where it's like, how people talking about, oh, I got my, they're talking about all these guns in their songs and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
instead of me talking about actual gun to do damage to my brethren, instead
Yeah.
of me, because the Bible also says we're not supposed to wrestle against flesh
Mm.
and blood, but against principalities
Mm.
and all the wicked things of the earth. And
Mm.
that's what I'm basically talking about. Instead of me going out there to shoot my brothers, I'm not going out there to literally shoot my brothers, but I'm going
Yeah.
out there to fight against the devil and his little
Yeah.
imps.
For sure.
Spiritual warfare.
Yeah, I know you love explaining these things as well, because I'm sure there'll be a lot of time that goes into making sure you're getting across this message, and you don't want people to miss out on that message either, really.
Nah, I don't want nobody to
But I'm
miss out
sure,
on
I'm
it.
sure, I'm sure the way that you do it, I'm sure people do listen to it. It depends what you listen. Some people like lyrics. Some people like
Yeah.
the sound of a track without the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah.
guess, so I guess for you as the creative, you probably enjoy the idea of explaining what you mean by certain things, so that people can fully. Like, I'll be able to listen to that song now again in a
Mm-hmm.
new light, knowing what your intentions were from it.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah, give
love.
us another one then. Give us another one from the album where you're like, okay, this is what I mean by do that for another track.
Okay, cool. So let's say Cherry on Top. I mean,
Hmm.
well, the title was Cherry on Top, but I changed it to Born Again, just for very important reasons. So Born Again, which was
Hmm.
originally named Cherry on Top,
Okay.
I compared that to like ice cream. But when I was
Okay.
talking about is like I want the world to be sweet again, like ice cream with a cherry on top. It's so much. We're living in perilous times right now. Perilous times is you have a lot of the wicked things going on. People being disobedient, kids being disobedient to their parents.
Yeah.
Um, you have just a lot of the things that's bad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that song is like it's like a prayer in a way, and I'm just asking God again. So asking God to just make the world again sweet like cherry on top. But in order for that to happen, it all starts with the people. We have to
Yeah.
be willing to make that change.
Yeah.
People have
Yeah.
to be able to comply with the guideline that was given to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Excellent.
and yeah, and it's crazy to me because a lot of people. I don't want to talk on nobody in religion and stuff, but a lot of people don't. They don't believe in Jesus.
Mm.
But then that's why in the song I said, in your room on your deathbed, you want to call them in. Every
Yeah.
time when somebody's on their deathbed, oh Jesus, oh Lord, that's the first thing they call.
Yeah.
Nobody else.
Of
You know what
course.
I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Yeah.
I just like the stuff like that. I just try to get people to understand, like, okay, we avoiding this person, but you always want to be the first one to call them. But I mean, hey, the Bible said every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess that who
Hmm.
Jesus is Lord. You know,
That's good, man.
it's
That's
all
good.
facts.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got this ability of being able to communicate this message in a way that isn't, I would say, isn't watered down. That's certainly not the way I would say it, but is in a creative way where people can go, okay. Because I guess a lot of people will, um, they receive kind of conviction for this or conviction for change at their own speed.
Hmm.
And so, and hearing something like that, as I say, I've just been a prime example. I've heard years ago Martinelli by Andy Mineo, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's a good example of using something really creative in order to get a good message out to people. And that's what I see in you, and I think that's absolutely fantastic. What would you
Yeah,
say? What would you say to a young person that's got a gifting in expressing their faith in a kind, and they also have like they have a passion to express their faith, but they also have a creative gifting in which to do so. What advice would you give to someone that's in that kind of position?
I would say number one, never be ashamed to speak about it, but also when you
Mm,
do, don't be forceful. Do it in a way where it's loving, so
mm,
people can easily gravitate to it. To like, oh my gosh, you
mm,
speaking about some real stuff.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, the Bible also says faith comes by the hearing of the word.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So when people hear it, that's how they're able to gain their faith. But
yeah,
yeah, once you make that music, do it out of love, do it in a dope way, be different. It's best to stand out than to than to sit in that box.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I'm saying? You want to be outstanding and different. You know, you want to
yeah,
draw people into your world.
absolutely. What church were you brought up in? Yeah.
Okay, so I had a church. It was called True Worship Church, and that's located out in Liberty out here, Liberty Avenue out in Brooklyn, and
Hmm.
Crescent, I believe. Yeah. Um, that's the church I actually grew up in. But as we've gotten older, we just started to maneuver to different churches. And
Okay.
now my recent church home is called Trinity Pentecostal House of Prayer.
Okay.
But due to COVID and everything, we've been home for a little bit. So I've been having church on myself. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? The church is the body of Christ anyway. It isn't really the building. We just go to the building to fellowship.
Sure.
But yeah.
Sure. Are your church quite supportive of creative arts?
Yeah, they love the work that I do. I mean,
Okay.
they haven't really heard. I'm not sure if they heard like other artists as far as like
Okay.
um all the Lecrae's and then the Minios and the KBs and all those guys of that nature, but
Okay.
they like my stuff, so I'm pretty sure they like my stuff. They will definitely like theirs too.
Yeah, no, that's good. Who inspires you in the way of kind of Christian artists? You've mentioned several kind of secular artists that bring a lot in their own right, for sure. Are there any Christian artists that you go, actually, I really like what this person's doing?
I'm gonna be completely honest.
No,
No.
no. Yeah, really. Why is that? Why do you think?
um, um, okay. Okay, I'll be honest too. I feel like they all sound the same.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see
No,
that.
I give it to Andy. Matter of fact, Andy Mineo, the most
Hmm.
creative, like as far as different sounding is him
Yeah, I think.
I've heard
Mm,
so far.
yeah.
Um, I would say RG. I haven't
Okay.
really heard his stuff, but some stuff that I heard, it's like, oh, it's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I haven't like a lot of the Christian artists doesn't inspire me. It's mostly the secular artists because you listen to them. It's like I like music that makes me feel like I'm like going out of space or something. Like, oh my gosh, where am I? This is a new place.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's why I love a lot of the secular artists. That don't mean I live like that. The music just
Hmm.
inspires me to create
Yeah, of course, of
my
course.
own type of thing.
Yeah. You've got quite a traditional music video type as well. Like I said to you earlier, your song with Ruslan um, was not just a great song. Like I enjoy that song; it's incredible. But the music video, like I don't know if I'd be able to enjoy the song as much without watching the music video. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That usually happens. Though. I know, like the video brings the song out even more.
Yeah. But especially yours, you bring people back to an era that I don't even know that era that it started off in. But do you think your dad has an impact on that, or is it just primarily things you've seen from before?
Now it's just primarily things I've seen from before. Like I love all types of music. My favorite era will always be like back then. I love the music from back then, like the '80s, the '70s,
Mm,
'60s, '50s, '90s. A little bit of the early 2000s, but yeah, I love the music from back then. I'm an old head.
yeah,
I'm an old head
on young shoulders. Yeah,
on young shoulders, basically. Yeah,
22. 22. I didn't realize you were that young.
yeah, I'm
Well, that's
22
great.
years old.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome.
Yeah,
It's yeah. Are there many people? Are you in a you've got people around you that do the music that
mm-hmm.
you do like, or have you, or are people that you speak to and connect with from a Christian perspective? Um, yeah, how do you connect with people that are on the same wavelength as you are?
I feel like that's just a natural thing. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? Like you said, because we're like on the same, I guess the same wave or something. Like just being a believer, that's just a natural connection. It's supposed to be like that. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? Like we all supposed to be able to fellowship, sharpen each other's iron, and encourage each other. One fall
mm,
down, you lift the other one up. It's supposed to be
mm,
like that. So that's just a natural thing right there.
yeah, yeah. How important is it for you within your music? Because you said something to me really interesting earlier
Hmm.
about being an artist and being a Christian. How important is it for you to express your faith via your music?
It's to me, it's very important because, especially being a believer, like that's our job to spread the good news. And me, because of my gift being music, I'm going to try my best to do whatever I can to plant as many seeds. Like when people listen to it, I want them to be able to receive it, take it in, and then
Yeah,
I just pray and I always ask God to, Lord, continue to do the increase, water that seed that's been planted.
yeah,
I'm doing my job. Even when I have personal conversations with people on the street and I take the time to pray with them, I try to do whatever I can, whatever opportunity that I get to pour into people, because, yeah, that's our job. We're supposed to be laborers of Christ and servants of Christ. That's
mhm,
our job.
mm,
I let people know all the time, like, listen, when you think of being a believer or a Christian, you don't have to present yourself as this perfect person. Nobody isn't perfect. So
mm.
I just try to be as real as much as I can with people.
Yeah. That's a good place to be for sure. What does the future hold for you, my friend?
I know for sure that the future holds great things. I mean, like, down to this is how I see myself. I see festivals and stadiums and even things that's been prophesied over my life.
Hmm.
I know I'm eventually gonna come out with a book. Like, you
Okay.
can't have a lot of wisdom and not be able to pour in by writing it down. So I know eventually I'm gonna come out with a book. I see endorsement deals. I see movies and TV shows and more
Mm.
radio interviews and a lot of press and
Yeah.
just being able to provide. And as I get older, to become a man, soon to be a husband when it's the right time. Just being a great young man, a leader. Being able to be a great brother to my sisters, a great son, and a provider. My future children, a great father, a protector. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm.
just things like that. I speak a lot of great things over myself, and I know for sure like my future will be great too. Really, really bright.
That's great. That's great.
Really, really bright.
Yeah. So for the next, that's the longer term. What does the next year, 2 years, 3 year hold? Like, how do we get to that? how do you get to that if the longer term is that for the immediate future?
I just gotta keep grinding. Gotta keep grinding because I keep speaking on myself. I say this year I know it's going to be a huge shift in my life. If I just keep on putting in the work, if I keep on sacrificing my time. When I say sacrifice, I mean every day I try to stay in my word. I try to pray. I go right in my backyard to read. I fall short. I ask God for forgiveness because everybody sins, whether it's big or little. You know what I'm saying? If I fall short, I ask God for forgiveness. But yeah, just
Yeah.
keep working hard and connecting, building relationships. That's the key. It was something I was told. They said a a great name. You rather want your name could either ring a bell or an alarm, but I want my name to ring bells.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
because somebody hear your name, oh, I know this person, and opposed to, oh, that's a bad person. You know what I'm saying? The Bible also
Yeah.
says a great name is better than riches.
Sure.
So that's it. I just want to build relationships, keep working hard.
Sure. Sure. How do you let people know of the work that you do, the music that you do, in order for collaborations and getting yourself out there? How do you work that, especially within the society we live in now with COVID and things? How do you do that? How do you find that works for you?
Like as far as like collaborating with people, like how do I
Yeah,
come about those things?
yeah, like just getting yourself out there with your music and connecting with other people.
So like I said, like networking and everything, and every artist I come across, I tell them like, hey, listen, if you want to collab, let's do it. Or if I have something I feel like they would fit on it, I hit them up and
Mm,
we'll do it. I won't lie. Sometimes a lot of them have, big heads. They're like pretty
okay,
prideful.
okay,
But working with me, everybody they know the music that I do. They respect it, and they know like it can't be no cursing or no nonsense. Like we can talk about real stuff, just don't do no cursing or nonsense.
yeah, yeah.
So.
No, absolutely, absolutely. I'm just going to check if there were any questions I put on. As a general rule of thumb, I will put out questions to the Instagram followers to see if, yeah, if there's obviously an interactive podcast. See if there's any questions that they've got, which is good. Here we go. Okay. What do you the main question I guess we got was kind of, you say you were singing before. You obviously put yourself in as an artist. Singing, rapping. What would you prefer? What's your kind of go to, or are you just a man that likes to spread yourself in that way?
Like what do I go
Yeah,
by?
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. And how do you use that in the music?
okay, so I'm gonna be honest. That's
Mm,
why I call myself an artist because whatever the vibe of the song is, whatever idea that comes down, that's what I put into it. If it involves
yeah,
singing, rapping, or I do both. I have the song "Born Again." You catch me singing and rapping. That's why I say
mm,
music is just a feeling. It's like you can't even explain it. You can only just put it out there, create it, put it out there.
yeah,
So yeah, so I just call myself an artist. But
absolutely.
I could rap my butt off.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I guess you put yourself in, if you are a rapper, you put yourself in a box, don't you?
Yeah,
Potentially limiting yourself off in the future. Yeah.
yeah, basically, I guess in that sense, yeah.
Mm, mm.
I
No,
guess in that sense.
absolutely, absolutely. So, to those people listening, we're going to bring it into a close now. For those people listening, what would be the message that you want to send out? Obviously, you do it through your music, and you like. I'll put a link. What would you like me to link people to? How can people find you? And what's the message you want to send out to people listening?
My message is to love one another.
Mm,
That's the main. That's the main commandment to love one another.
okay.
Um, and to just do good works and keep letting your light shine. That's my
Yeah.
thing. Like let your light so shine.
Mm, mm.
So when people see that light, they eventually want to go to the light. But if they see dark, they don't want to walk into the dark.
Yeah.
So always love, and let your light shine.
Absolutely. That's really good. And if people want to find some of the music that we've talked about today? How do people do that?
Literally, you could go on any social platform, YouTube, any streaming service, and just type in Ziearre, and everything involving me comes up. Literally, down to, or they could just go to my website, ziearre.com.
Sure, sure. Where did that name come from?
Ziearre.
Mm.
Okay. So Ziearre is my middle name.
Okay.
I was supposed to have, Ziearre is supposed to be my first name also, but my dad wanted me to be a junior, so my name is Frederick Ziearre Flowers, just to put out my government.
Wow.
But the way it's spelled is like that, Ziearre, but it's also a place in Africa.
Okay.
I found out. Yeah,
Okay.
I found out it's a place in Africa.
Okay.
But yeah, it's cool though because Ziearre has an ear for music, which is cool. So yeah,
Okay. That's awesome. That's class. Yeah, well, brilliant. Thank you so much for coming on, for being able to share your story.
I
And
appreciate this, man.
yeah, I want you to know that, like, as someone that's had you on social media, you've been a blessing to me in the way that you bring across the energy of just positivity and the importance of what you're saying out to other people. So just keep doing what you're doing, man, because you're inspiring me, you're inspiring other people. And so yeah, just keep going, man. I appreciate that.
I appreciate that, man. I hope to stay connected for real. I hope to stay connected with you. I really enjoyed this interview.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's different, isn't it? It's a different, but hopefully the people that have been able to listen to this know you, or at least feel like they know you a little bit.
Yeah.
The guys that listen to you, because you do have regular, 4 or 5 figure monthly listeners on Spotify. I saw earlier, so there's a lot of people that want to know. There's a lot of people tuned into what you're doing, which is incredible. So keep doing that. I think that's incredible.
Yes, man. I appreciate this whole opportunity. Appreciate the whole opportunity.
That's fantastic. I'm just gonna bring this to a close, but no, thank you very much, Ziearre. Incredible.
Everybody, have a blessed one. Thank you.
Well, that was incredible. Amazing to hear his story. What a fantastic individual with a fantastic story. I hope you've been inspired by this. I hope this idea has kind of challenged you in what we say to others, just being of value, and how as a creative person, he's using his voice, but not just his voice and the words that he says, but the ability to sing and rap together in order to glorify God. Guys, if you like what you've heard, it'd be fantastic to give this a thumbs up, to subscribe, to like. As we said earlier, just a fantastic podcast all round, and thank you very much. And I hope to see you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.